Oh, Seraphine, dear Sarah, you slipped through time like sand through my fingers. Where are you now?
A time traveler should never visit their own grave.
Godspeed, Seraphine.
In a distant world, beyond the reach of familiar stars, lies Kepler 22b, a land where twilight blankets the cracked earth and remnants of a lost civilization cast long shadows over silent landscapes. Amidst the desolation, a solitary figure tends to a garden stubbornly alive with wildflowers, their colours defying the world's bleak tones. This man is Rowan, a wise elder, burdened by memories and bound by a quiet resilience that keeps him anchored to this forsaken place. Yet his heart belongs to another time, to another soul. Seraphine, a muse whose crossing between worlds has left her as much a myth as a memory. With each step she takes, Seraphine dances through the edges of history, touching lives in ways both profound and unseen. She is a weaver of destinies, a silent guide to those on the brink of transformation. And so, here on Kepler 22b, Rowan waits, receiving stories like messages in a bottle cast into an endless sea. These tales come to him in fragments, whispers from Seraphine's journeys, encounters with dreamers, warriors, seekers, and souls yearning for the courage to embrace change. Each story is a seed, planting itself in the rich soil of Rowan's heart, growing into wildflowers he tends with reverence. With every bloom, he is drawn closer to understanding Seraphine's purpose, and perhaps to healing his own. This is the story of Seraphine's crossing, a tale of time, hope, and the bonds that tie us, no matter how vast the distances we roam. Let us follow her now, through worlds both familiar and strange, and listen as she leaves traces of herself among the stars.
The air on Aurelia smelled of salt and possibility. The kind of place where horizons are endless, not merely imagined. I arrived at dusk, slipping in like a shadow between the sails and nets of Kai's ship. The waves whispered beneath the keel, as though calling him forward, yet he stood rooted by the prow, his eyes fixed on the star-spattered sky. His breath held a note of longing and doubt, a combination I knew well. Kai was young, with a navigator's instincts and the restlessness of a dreamer chained to the edge of the known world. As I watched him, hidden from sight, he traced imaginary lines between constellations, his fingers faltering as he sought direction within their vastness. The old ways of navigation had failed him recently. No maps, no compasses, could steer him to the hidden islands he believed lay waiting beyond the clouds on the horizon. He startled when I finally spoke, my voice soft, like the murmur of the sea at dawn. I shared the stories of stars I'd travelled beneath, celestial rivers that spanned worlds, lights that guided me through darker times. I showed him the constellations I had followed, those that had been my companions across lifetimes. Each star a reminder of choices I had made and paths I would never walk again. Together we devised a new map, one built not on routes, but on faith in the cosmos. The stars, I explained, were not static things. They were threads, woven into an ever-shifting tapestry that would reveal the way only to those who dared to look beyond what was visible. He listened, rapt, his eyes shimmering with new understanding. In that moment, Kai became more than a navigator. He was a seeker, learning to chart his own course by listening to the whispers of distant worlds, even as they pulsed in silence across the heavens. When I left him, he did not look back. He simply set sail, his heart guided by the stars, and an idea he was beginning to understand. That courage is found not in the absence of fear, but in the quiet resolve to move forward, despite it.
I remember the night the stars taught me to listen. The ocean held its breath as I stood there, watching, waiting, wondering if the answers I needed would ever come. And then she was there, a woman with eyes like winter skies, filled with stories I couldn't begin to comprehend. She called herself Seraphine, though I had no way of knowing if she was real, or a figment conjured by the sea and starlight. Her words were not like any I'd heard. She spoke of stars as if they were her kin, her companions in a journey across places I'd never imagined. She told me that each one had a purpose, a point in the night where it shone just right, guiding those who dared to look for it. The knowledge she shared was ancient and strange. Her voice, the steady rhythm that my heartbeat followed as we stood side by side, charting a new path across the heavens. With her guidance, I crafted a map, a living, breathing chart that wove the stars into a web of possibilities rather than destinations. For the first time, I looked at the night sky and felt as though I belonged within it, as though the stars themselves were urging me forward. And I knew then what she meant. That exploration was not about finding new places, but about finding courage within ourselves, to venture where no one else dared. I left that night, leaving behind the familiar shores and the easy paths I'd travelled so many times before. Guided by those stars, I found an island no one had seen before. It was small, tucked between currents and clouds as though hiding, waiting to be found. The island became a beacon, changing the course of trade, yes, but more than that, it changed me. The boy I was left with that shore, and in his place was a man who had touched the sky.
The stars that had once been Kai's lantern were now only stories. I could see them in my mind's eye as I read his words, imagining his journey from the timid young navigator to the man who found himself reflected in the wide, unknown waters he dared to explore. The garden was still tonight. The air was thick with Kepler's damp chill, but in my hand I held the faint bloom of a star lily, its pale petals opening shyly against the gloom. It reminded me of Kai, of his initial fear, his hesitant steps towards what he couldn't yet see or understand. I pressed the bloom into the soil, gently patting down the earth around it, and as I did, I felt an odd comfort settle in my chest. A peace I hadn't realized I was seeking. In my solitude, I often found myself longing for Seraphine, longing for the warmth of her presence, for the spark of her spirit. And yet, as I tended this garden, these flowers born of her stories and the lives she touched, I could sense her with me in a way that was both fleeting and enduring. Each story brought with it a glimmer of her light, a reminder that in courage and kindness, we leave traces of ourselves in others' lives, long after we're gone. Kai had crossed his own oceans, as we all must, finding his way through fear to the freedom waiting on the other side. As I looked out at the flowers, a new thought took root. Perhaps Seraphine's crossing had given him something of her own indomitable spirit, a legacy she passed on in whispers and stardust. And so, with a quiet heart, I rose, brushing the soil from my hands, and let the star lily's pale glow guide me back through the darkness.
Through shadows and stardust we wander unseen, tracing echoes of stories where the lost have been. In whispers and embers, soft lights that remain, we carry their voices through quiet refrain. Where horizons fade and dreams collide, we drift through the silence, side by side. A thousand lives, a single thread, where the endless journey lies ahead. Beneath fading constellations,